Hi, I'm Ran Abdul Rahman and our today's topic is warehouse management processes and their use. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel and take full advantage of this free course and press bell icon so that you can get notified for every next release. Our agenda for today's discussion is the warehouse management processes. For every time when we are configuring the warehouse management, to enable the advanced warehouse management, we need to activate one specific option of use warehouse management processes. So let's discuss about that, what is that, and why we need to activate this to enable the advanced functionalities. Next, we will be discussing the components of those warehouse processes, which is the wave templates, work pools, and location directives. So the work pools are basically not mandatory, but these are optional things, but it will help you while working with the advanced warehouse management plans. Like it will help you while performing the countings, advanced counting, cycle counts, and also for other reports. As part of the warehouse management configuration, you must enable warehouse management processes according to your business requirements. The most important component for you to configure are waves, work templates, work pools, and location directives. Wave templates are found in the warehouse management setup waves. Let me share you with the dynamic screen. So by going on to the modules area, you will be going to the warehouse management, and then from the setup you will be going to the waves, and from waves you will be going to the wave templates. Wave templates help enable the outbound release to warehouse processes when orders are released either directly from the source document through batch job processes or by loads that have been created. The wave template functionality is used. You can create three types of wave templates, which are the shipping, then the production orders, and then for the Kanbans. You can use parameters to define how far system should automatically go in the outbound work processing. Like here on the general tab, you are seeing there are parameters for this wave. You can automate wave creation. You can process wave at release to warehouse. You can automate wave release. We can automate the replenishment work. We can enable this wave to continue while the work creation is failed. So why works are failed? Basically, when before creating a work, system needs to reserve that inventory. So if we are activating this, then system will auto reserve that inventory to a blank location and then process that wave. Then we have wave thresholds. Like if we are gonna process waves automatically, then there will be some thresholds which are required to which needs to be met before releasing this warehouse. And these thresholds will take into action, and then we can specify weight threshold, we can specify the shipment threshold, and we can also specify the line threshold over here. If a template is listed at the top of the sequence, the criteria in that template are checked first. If the criteria can be met, the wave template is processed. Otherwise, the criteria in the next template are checked, and so on. Therefore, it's a good idea to put the template that has the most specific criteria at the top of the wave template sequence list so that it is processed first. For example, you want to process all work for our preferred carrier today and temporarily delay the processing of the work for other carriers. In this case, the wave template that selects work for that preferred carrier should be listed higher in the sequence than other templates. Otherwise, the work for other carriers might be processed before the work for the preferred carrier is completed. So we are discussing about these sequences. So if I want to prefer some wave over the other, then I will be specifying that on the higher level. So here you're seeing that there's no validation for the carriers, but while going to the edit query tab, you can specify that this wave template is for my specific carrier by going into the shipments, by selecting the field. We have plenty of fields available here, so we can select the carrier group, the carrier service, and by selecting that, the carriers will be available here, and I can specify that the first template will be processing my retail carriers or the truck carriers. You must specify the wave process methods in each wave template. The methods that are available vary depending on the wave template type. So methods which we need to specify or will be available to you here for any related template. You can specify these template methods too by dragging them from left to right to the selected methods box. So if you're going to use the replenishment or the containerization, so that can also be inserted to the right side, so that this wave can process the replenishment. When we are automating replenishment work, when we configure this toggle, then we need to add this related method to the wave as well. Next, while creating the wave template, you need to specify the site, you need to specify that the warehouse, because these are warehouse specific templates, and then the wave will automatically will check whether it is valid or not valid. And then we have default values. We can specify the default values for these waves, and then we can specify the wave notification policy. Yep, so that's done. Let's move to the work templates. So work templates can be found in the setup, work, and work template. Work templates define what work is performed and how the work is done. Work templates can also contain a directive code that links to a location directive to determine where work is performed. Work templates include a query that specifies the criteria for the work. Each template must include at least one pick operation and one put operation to drive the basic operations of transferring on-hand inventory from one location to another location. If multiple workers must be enabled to process work for some of your warehouse operations, you might want to use the concept of staging for the inventory and a separate work implementation into different work clause. Work template is used to create the process Work template is used to create and process warehouse work at various stages in the warehouse management process. A valid work template should be specified as pick and put pairs. So work must have two pairs of the pick and the put. So before these are the minimum two, but you can also add the staging in between that. You can also add the print labels between that. So it's all up to you, but still you will, at minimum level, you need to configure one pick and one put for any of the work. So what is the role of wave templates and then the work templates? Wave templates grouping can also be used in the supply chain management. It enables groupings and breaking by the functionality already on the wave template. Using this functionality can be useful in a warehouse where waves are created based on a specific criteria, that where automatic waves creation is preferred over the manual. A purchase order is created, confirmed and sent to the vendor. The vendor ships the items which will be received in your inbound location. Then you need to pick the inventory items and put them away in specific location that might be a picking location for a sales order. When sales order is created, you pick the inventory items and put them away in a staging location to be packed. Finally, you will pick the packed items and put them away on an outbound location to be shipped. So in this scenario, we are using the waves, we are using the work, and we also use the location directives which will direct the work from where to pick and to where to put. Work templates are available for sales order, purchase order, for raw material picking, for finished goods put away, for co-product and byproduct put away. So there are multiple work order types which are available within Dynamics 365. We will be covering each of them in the coming sessions, but for now we just need to specify, we just need to let you know that what are the work templates and why these are required to be configured within Dynamics 365 warehouse before or while implementing the advanced warehouse functionality. So it is one of the advanced warehouse functionality which automates the work creation process. Then there's another concept of work pools. The work pools also found in the warehouse management setup work. Let's go there. Warehouse management, setup, work, and then work pools. It's basically classification of the work. We are used to organize the warehouse work into groups. For example, you can create a work pool to classify work that occurs in a specific warehouse location. For all the work types except counting, you can assign a work pool to a work template. For cycle counting, you can assign a work pool to the following pages: cycle count plans, cycle count threshold, cycle count work by location, and cycle count work by item. When you use work templates to create work, the work pool is automatically assigned to the work. क्या बात है साथ भाई. Work pool IDs can also be used to limit the type of work that is directed to a warehouse worker, provided that this functionality is configured on the relevant mobile device menu. Additionally, warehouse managers now have the ability to change work pools that have been created for the workers. This allows managers to react quicker to changes on the shop floor, enabling them to streamline the physical process when needed. So by going on to the work pools, like from the setup to the work and then the work pools, we have unlimited space to create as many work pools as we need to perform. So this is basically grouping of the work in different pools. Finally, we need to discuss the location directives. So location directives can be found in the setup and in the warehouse management, and then the setup, and then the location directives. Location directives are used to direct the work transactions to the appropriate locations in the warehouse. In other words, they define where to pick and where to put. To simplify defining the actions that are associated with each location directive line, you use one of the predefined strategies. For example, you can use the empty locations with no incoming work strategy to search for free locations in a warehouse, or you can use the FEFO, means the first expiry first out batch reservation strategy for the outbound picking sales. For example, in the sales order transaction, a location directive determines where the items will be picked and where picked items will be put. You can use location directives to do the following tasks, like put away incoming items, pick and stage items for outbound transactions, pick and put raw materials for the production, and also for the replenished locations. You can use the fixed location usage page to assign the permanent or fixed locations to an inventory item. You can assign multiple fixed locations to the same item, and multiple items can have the same fixed location assigned to them. Fixed locations are used to set up location directives and inventory replenishment. Location directives have several features that help with identifying pick and put locations for the inventory movement. They are warehouse specific, so you need to create one pick and one put for each of the site and each of the warehouse. If you have multiple warehouses that are set up similarly, you can use the copy features. However, you still need to have location directives set up for each one. There are 16 different types of work orders for which you can set up location directives. So by going on to the work order type, which we also discussed while creating the work templates, so here we have all those work orders which are available for which we can create location directives. So before processing any sales order using the advanced warehouse functionality, we need to create the sales order work type and then the location directives for that order type. And then if we are using the purchase order functionality, then we need to create location directives separately for each warehouse for the purchase. And if we are using this raw material picking, then we need to create the raw material picking location directives based on each of the warehouse from where we will be picking the raw materials. Next, for each co-product and byproduct put away, then the transfer issue, then the transfer receipt. So basically transfer orders are being created like the issue and the receipt in the location directives. So location directives create two areas, like from where you will be issuing the transfers and from where you will be receiving those, to which location we will be receiving those receipts, those transferred items. Then we have a simple template for the inventory movement, then cancel work, cycle counting, replenishment, return orders, Kanban, put away picking, counting discrepancies accepted, and the packed container picking. We'll be discussing all these in details in the next coming sessions. For now, you just need to know what is location directive and why this is required to be configured while performing the advanced warehouse implementation activities. Some of these are standard types such as purchase order, sales order. So these 16 work order types, some of these are the standard ones, but you can create custom ones as well as and when required based on your requirement. Other types of work orders exist as well. For example, if you are a manufacturing company, there are work orders for finished goods that are put away, raw materials picking, Kanban picking. Other work order includes several types for cycle counting, return orders, and replenishment. So on the location directives, we have again the three fast steps. One is the location directive itself, in which we will be discussing, which we will be telling that what work type this location directive will be performing, which warehouse it is related to, and if we need to go for the directive code, then we will be specifying that directive code here. Then next we have lines which will be defining the quantities from which quantity to, from quantity and to quantity you will be using for for this directive. So here if we are saying that from one quantity 1 to 99,999 quantity, you will be using this directive action from PL to PL from bulk. And here we are specifying that this is my fixed and non-fixed location. And this is restricted by the unit, and again we are not allowing any split for this quantity. On the next line we are defining that for these 99,000 on this line we are specifying that from 1 to 99,999 the directives will be from the floor. You can pick from the floor, or if these are not available on the floor, then you can go to the bulk location and pick those from the other bulk related locations. So where we are defining that it is being picked from the floor and it is being picked from the bulk, so then we need to go to the edit query. Here we are specifying that my location warehouse is 24, it is by default, and this filter is by default applied. Then we need to specify on hand inventory is greater than 0. Then we will be specifying my location profile ID, which is floor. So in this way system will be going to the floor type locations and finding the pick items to pick the items from there. If these are not available there, then it will be going to the bulk locations. Again we will be specifying that bulk location over our query tab, and then it will pick from there. So next we need to create one pick, and then for the sale orders we'll also need to create one put for the same warehouse. And if we are using the multiple SKU, then we need to create pick and put for that multiple SKU, the separate pick for that multiple SKUs, which means that here we are talking about the single unit, but then we will be discussing about the multiple units which are configured on the sales order. Now let's discuss about the disposition codes. Disposition codes are the collection of rules that are used when damaged items are received. A disposition code can be found in the warehouse management setup and to the mobile device. Is a field that is intended for use on a location directive for return merchandise. It describes what action will be taken upon processing of a return order. Let's go to the setup and then the mobile device, and then we have disposition codes. So while creating the return order, we will be specifying the work template, and we can specify which return disposition code will be applied. So it is related to the return orders. Let's create a new one. It is say damaged, then my status will be say good, my template will be say RMA, and my code will be scrap. Or if I need to replace the damaged piece again, then I will be selecting my disposition code as replace and scrap. Otherwise, if I need to give credit to the customer for this damage, then and I am not sending them back a good piece, then I will be going with the replace and credit disposition code, return disposition. So let's have a look over there as well. So here we have multiple disposition codes. the credit, put item back into the inventory and credit customer. Or number 12, we are specifying that the repair and add to the inventory and credit customer. Then credit only, there's credit only and no return of the item, because here we are just crediting the customer. Replace and credit means replace the item and credit the customer. Replace and scrap means we are scrapping the item and replacing the item and scrap the return item, and credit goes to the we will be crediting that customer for that piece. Return to customer, the reject return item to the customer, and then scrap means the scrap item and credit to the customer. Let's create a new one here. Let's say it's 62. Then I need to select the action which I need to perform for this disposition code, whether I am crediting or I'm just I'm crediting with the item, or I'm just crediting the customer, or it will be scrap, or it will be a replace item and credit, or it will be a replace and scrap, or it will be returned back to the customer. So while creating this the return order, which we will be discussing in detail later on, we need to select one disposition code from these available codes, and these related actions will be applied to that return order. And next, on each of the disposition code, we can configure charges. Let's say we need to configure the related charges, so we will be going to the, it is same like we have discussed for the purchase orders miscellaneous charge, or we used to have inventory item charges. So this setup also applies for the return charges. Say the chart description is return expenses, and here my charges code will be, say, freight, and the charge amount is not fixed but is percentage of 10% of my value. So by selecting by selecting this return expenses charge on the return order, we can specify that my 10% charge is charged on this. So the accounting for this charge will be taken care on the actual charge code, where we are debiting the customer and crediting our ledger order freight account. This is all for today. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. We'll discuss next. We will be discussing the reservation hierarchies within Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, and then we will be moving towards more advanced functions of this warehouse, which is basically the GSN codes and all that stuff. Thank you so much.